Hi, welcome to Pride Pages podcast. We have Patrick Stromer here. Did I say that correctly? I should have asked ahead of
Yeah,
time.
nailed it. Perfect.
He's with Synergy Wellness Studios, and he's going to talk to us about how to heal better. Don't forget to
Absolutely.
like and subscribe. And so, Patrick, what brought you to Boise?
So I actually grew up close to here in Hell's Canyon, the Oregon-Idaho border, middle of nowhere. My hometown has about 40 people at Oxbow, Oregon, and it was great. It was wonderful growing up there, kind of middle of nowhere though. And so when I finished with my schooling, I always wanted to be around a city where there's more people, there's more chance to meet more gay men, so I could have a dating pool, I guess is a good way to put it. But my family was still close. And so Boise is where both my sisters moved. And I stopped here to visit and I was like, this is closer and closer to what I really value. It's a smaller city, it's comfortable, and the people that I met were amazing. So it stuck. And now I get to be close to both my sisters. It's only about a 3-hour drive back home to see my parents and my family. And so that was the big push for Boise. 11, 12 years ago now. So been happy with it ever since.
Awesome. Um, what is your coming out story?
Um, that one's a fun one because it's not dramatic, which is nice. I kind of liked it being a more organic, calm way of sharing who I was. Basically what happened was I was at home. My friends were coming to visit. I had probably a group of 8 or 10 guys that came out, and we're all just hanging out in Hell's Canyon. And my parents look around and they go, "Oh, okay, like so-and-so's gay and so-and-so's got something." I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "So what does that put you?" And I was like, "Well, of course I'm gay." And they go, "Oh, okay, that works." And so it wasn't traumatic. And I love that for me and my parents. And I like to show that, you don't have to, hopefully not everyone has to struggle through it. And that I gave me more power to help people that maybe do struggle with it, to say, like, I will help you and I want to be there for those people that do. But mine was very mild, very chill. And then from that point forward, being in a profession that is, a doctor where I have to kind of keep some boundaries up, it's not something I share immediately, only when it is basically asked of me, because I don't want to be overbearing in any way, shape, or form. But I found that lately sharing it more and more has allowed more people to actually come to me, get care that they feel they need it or they were embarrassed about, and they succeed more when I was just more open about myself. So I guess my coming out story helps more for helping patients than it did for myself even.
Of course, I think so. I think we all like to know that we're in a safe space when we go see somebody, especially for healthcare. And so it's important when we know that you're also LGBTQ. It makes us feel safer.
Yeah.
So tell me about living in Boise as LGBTQ and what it means to you to be a part of the community.
Um, the best way to describe it is Boise to me was always a big city. And then once I got here, I realized how much of a community it actually had and how close everyone was. So right now, my husband Jeff and I are very well connected with a lot of people, and they're the nicest, most loving, caring, and I say this endearingly, low drama, apparently, that we all get along and we all have this great relationship. And so to me, being in Boise has been fantastic. Now, Jeff and I still love to travel. And so we go visit all these other great places, and it is really fun, but it makes me appreciate Boise even more when I can come back and I'm like, the people here are just great. And I've had a great time. Now, I do know that some of my friends have struggled when they were moving out into areas further out of the city of Boise itself. Like, I have some friends in the Edge of Meridian, and they actually left because they didn't feel welcomed by the community. Not the gay community, but the community around them there at the Edge of Meridian. It was tragic to have their flags ripped down and their house egged and just harassed by locals. And so I do know that that's still going on. So it hurts me a little bit, but I think that more vocal, more visibility helps normalize it in a very comfortable way for more and more people, hopefully. And so by me sharing and being out there and being in a respected profession and sharing that I am gay and a good person and we're helping people as best we can, hopefully more and more people are having less reactive, angry emotions, LGBT in the community.
Yeah. Which is true. So I'm glad you're doing that for us. So what are some things you're passionate about improving within our community that showcase pride in making things better?
Quick little examples, like I'm just a kind of an active person. That's kind of my lifestyle, is being out and doing and exercising. Playing pickleball has been fun, but volleyball has always been a big passion. And so a couple of years ago, one of the Pride Boise organizers actually reached out and we decided to run just a volleyball fundraiser for Pride. And it was fantastic because what it did is it brought together a lot of the LGBT community, but it also brought a lot of the ally community out in force as well. Because if you've been around like the really intense volleyball scene, they're the happiest, lovingest people that really know that the gays are great. The LGBT crowd was really welcomed into that like ally community for some reason. And so having this big event where all these people came, it was fantastic and was really fun. So granted, that was just an event. But what I think other things I do is having these conversations with people that are struggling to find comfortable healthcare providers. So that would be those that come to me specifically now because they can have a conversation about sexuality or anything and feel comfortable with it. I guess another example was I had some friends that were going to healthcare clinics and bringing up that they wanted to be on something like PrEP. Well, one of the big arguments was that they had to be referred out to an infectious disease specialist before a provider would give them to it. And it floored me. It was just beyond my thought, because I am a primary care provider. Now I can't prescribe PrEP and I can't get into the pharmaceutical portion of it. But me being able to be an advocate for those people and telling them where to go, using places like this Pride Pages to find doctors that know what they're talking about, it's been huge. So to me, that's kind of my avenue into it, is I get to be like a primary care provider that can really use my resources in the community to help people if they come and ask about it.
I love that. I love that a lot. So what brought you into chiropractic care?
A couple different things. I'm not good at a lot of different subjects. Like if you ask me about math questions, it's just gone. I have no idea. So what I was good at was understanding bodies and understanding people and their response to how they handle the world. And I connected with people on that level more and more. And so in school, when I got into those courses that had to do with anatomy, physiology, exercise, sports, it clicked. It made sense. So started to spin the wheels on, okay, with that as the mindset, what can I do to help people that's not cutting them open or dealing with pharmaceuticals? Because I just never really liked them to begin with. So chiropractic sung because I had already been going as a kid. When I got into that program easily, I flew through it, loved every moment of it. And it was a way for me to use my knowledge to help people understand themselves, because when they do that, they tend to want to heal, or they can heal more. An example, most people know what a placebo is. And so that's one of the conversations I fight with most people all the time. They're like, well, you rub their back and I can go rub someone's back and it feels good. And I was like, great. But the energy and the intent of what we do for our health and our body, if it's directed correctly, actually makes these fantastic changes. And I get to prove to them how it's done via education, but via actively working on them. And proof is in the pudding. When I got to actually touch people and work with them, they got better. So I guess that was how I got into chiropractic, and why I stick with it too, is because it's a fun way to help people.
That's awesome. I was looking on your website and I want to find out about this emotional release therapy. What is that?
Yeah. So actually, the author, Bradley Nelson, he wrote this book called The Emotion Code. And so if you're really interested in what I'm about to say, go read that because it's fantastic. It really explains it in even more detail, and breadth of the understanding is better. But I give the example of, if you think about what we're made of, we go back down to, okay, we're made of cells, and cells then are made of molecules. And these molecules are made of energy of protons, electrons, and neutrons that just whirl around. And those forces of attraction and repulsion are what creates us. Okay. So I've just broke you down into energy. When we experience the world, our body reflects, absorbs, and changes its energy based on that experience. An emotion is an experience tied to that. So a good example is when we're happy, we smile, we get like teary-eyed, we get rambunctious, we have this good energy, we feel good, we're there. Grief is another one. We know exactly how that feels. There's like a pit in our stomach, all those negative emotions, like there's crying, there's a change in how we feel. All of that is an energy shift in our body. Well, for some, that energy starts to get repetitive and it gets what we call stuck. Now, when we're stuck in an energy state like that due to an emotion, it can linger for days, months, years, decades. So those people that have had a negative response to emotion, granted, grief is supposed to be challenging, it's supposed to be painful, but it's something that your body experiences and then moves and grows and processes. But if that grief emotion stayed somewhere, it causes damage. It causes an energy shift. So the emotion release technique is a way of bringing that emotion back up to the surface and getting it to process out correctly. So it's a little bit more of what I call like our rounded approach at care. It's not something that everyone jumps into at our office, but when someone kind of reaches a plateau on their care saying, okay, I got better, but I reached a point here where I'm stuck and I still feel like something's going on. It's one of the pieces that we can add to their healthcare puzzle to get them to the next level of being better, of healing better. So I really appreciate that. Dr. Stormy, my partner here at Synergy Wellness, is basically an expert in bringing out these emotions and helping people heal that emotional trauma in the tissue of their body. Now, it's not a big pop and a crack. This tends to be done with either magnets or vibration or light. So there's ways that you can do it depending on the energy that's found. So,
Wow.
any questions about that?
So do you have people come see you just for that? I know you mentioned it comes later in care, but do people just say, I want this emotional release therapy?
Yeah, if you hear the word chiropractic, people come to us because of a chiropractic-based condition in their head first. So most people are like, Mom, my neck hurts. Great, we can help. But when we start to dig about why that neck is hurt or why they can only reach a certain level of improvement, some of this pops up later. People do come in immediately for emotion code release when they hear about it through a friend, a colleague, or say they already knew about it and they started hunting for practitioners and they find us. So it is something that some people start with. It's a different conversation that most people have to kind of learn to look for before they come to me as just, ow, I hurt kind of conversation.
Right, right. I'm gonna throw out. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. Along that lines, with Synergy Wellness, the idea of chiropractic was kind of foundational. And so I like to share that, chiropractic is a phenomenal way for people to heal better, about getting the body to work at its optimal level. And that's very baseline. How do we do that is always the question. And the motion release technique was one of those avenues. But I like to talk about, I have a functional nutrition certification. So when it comes to feeding the body, we also have different avenues on ways that we can repair gut, ways that we can get the body to process hormones better, and then brain chemistry. So I've actually worked with a lot of high anxiety, high depression, and anywhere in between kind of disorders, simply by tweaking a little supplement or an energy work-based release. And so having the knowledge with the nutrition, and you combine that with something like the emotional release that can happen and the physical when you're talking the body, all of a sudden you have all these pieces that start to come together and you heal better. And so that was our goal all along with Synergy. And that's why it's called Synergy, is because we're trying to synergize different avenues and different mechanisms to help people. That's it. That's the goal. And so that's really why we're here. If you ever get a chance to meet Dr. Stormy, she's phenomenal. She's my partner that I talked about before. And so between her and these really in-depth emotion release techniques, and me, I do more of the functional nutrition management, we can generally handle quite a bit of variety of pathological conditions, so to speak, just by getting the body to heal better.
I love that. I love that. And that's the cover I have for your graphic, to heal better. So that works out perfect.
Excellent.
Is there anything you want to finish off and share about your company, Synergy?
I guess the biggest thing is we're a foundation for finding ways to get better. And so a lot of my patients use me for chiropractic, but a lot of them use me for conversations on what they can do to get better. Right before this, the last person that came in said, okay, I have these pain things and I know the adjustments are working, but I can't figure out what to do with my diet. And they've been really curious about the stories about keto and the stories about paleo. And they're curious about what they can do to change the inflammation levels in their body. And they have all these questions that they can't get answered by Google in a straight line. So when they come to me, a lot of my appointment is actually spent talking through what someone can do to make their body work better. So if you're looking for a chiropractor because something hurts, love to do that. We'd love to help you. But if you're also looking to have conversations about what you can do to be healthier, that is our forte. That is really what Synergy has been about, is finding those avenues to help you get better. So bring it. We love to help.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you for tuning into Pride Pages podcast, and don't forget to subscribe and follow us. I will have Patrick's contact details below so you can reach out to him, and thank you all for coming out.
Absolutely. Thank you.